What up, guys? Last few vlogs you've seen have been at new locations, but today we're at Old Faithful, the Bellagio. Not sure what stakes we're gonna play. We have our name down for everything, the 1, 3, 2, 5, 5, 5, and 5, 10. So whichever table calls us first, I'm ready to play. I don't care. But coming over here, I was thinking, the goal every session, honestly, is to win as much money as possible. Who doesn't want to win a lot of money? But kind of had an idea of why not make it like a goal, like a challenge, like have a specific number, I guess you could say. And what I thought was doing like a 10K challenge, like a 10K in a week that I'm here in Vegas, the 6 or 7 days. So all the totals so far, not even sure what they are, but we're gonna have the first 3 days somewhere on the screen, and today's day 4. So let's try to get as close as we can to that goal, or just hit it. Why not just hit it right now, to be honest? But not sure what's gonna happen. We are going to do our best, and yeah, hopefully get some run good, to be honest. Some easy spots. Why not? Why not us? So wish us luck and stay tuned to see what happens. Let's go.
We start today off at the 2-5 game, and this would just kind of spare the moment on the walk over here to do our first ever challenge of the channel, getting specific with what we're trying to do and accomplish, which is something I tell my clients all the time, to have a vision of what you want. You want to lose 20 pounds? All right, let's do it. You want to get your mile down to pass the military requirements test? Then, all right, let's work towards that. So again, our name gets called for the 2-5, which isn't my most favorite here at the Bellagio. It's only 100 big blinds, max buy-in, and if the $10 straddle is on, just not a lot of playability with so little big blinds to work with. It's a perfect game if you want to do a lot of flips for $500. That's always fun, just depending on the vibe, I guess. But on a normal day, normal game, I prefer to play deeper. But this is the game that called us first, so let's see what we can do. It's our third hand dealt in, and we're on the button. It folds around to the cutoff, who limps for $5. Action on us, and we look down at King Queen offsuit. A decent hand, and we're in position, so we bump things up to $20. The blinds get out of the way. Action back on the limper, and he makes a call for 15 more. So heads up to a flop, and it comes Brick City for us, ace 8-7 rainbow. The cutoff checks and flow, and even though we missed, we're in position, so gonna represent the ace as the pre-flop aggressor and c-bet to $15. The cutoff thinks for a bit, but mucks his cards. Woo! Some exciting stuff, right? Don't everybody jump out of your seats just yet, because during the process of collecting our chips, we hear our name get called for the 5-10 game, so we hit and run, winning 18 bucks, and switch games. We buy in for the max 2,500 and get started. And we get started right away because less than an orbit in, we're in the under the gun, first act, and we look down at a suited ace, ace-2 of clubs. A good playable hand, so we raise things up 3x to $30. It folds around to the small blind, who makes the call, and the big blind closing the action puts in $20 more. So hey, we're in position. That's a good start. Being in the under the gun and ending up in position for the remainder of the hand is not a bad situation. We're 3 ways to a flop, and if being in position wasn't good enough, we smash this board. It's King Jack 6, all clubs. What a way to start the session, flopping the absolute nuts. Both blinds check and flow to us, and I go back and forth debating on c-betting or checking. This game is, well, there's a fine line between looking like a genius and a moron. On one hand, I can c-bet, get raised, get called, whatever, and end up getting it all in by the river, still holding the nuts, win a bunch of money, then yay, I'm a genius. On the other hand, if I c-bet, everyone folds, then look like a complete moron for not slow playing and letting them catch up. But on the other hand, checking, letting them catch up, and then they go runner full house, and I lose my whole stack, looking like a moron, not c-betting, and taking it down right away. So which do we pick? If only we had laser vision to see their cards, but unfortunately we don't. So we decided to check this time. Maybe someone will end up with 2 pair or turn a straight. That's the hope, at least. So off to a free turn, which comes a brick, a 3 of hearts. The small blind, first to act, wants to take a stab and bets out $40. The big blind gets out of the way, and now we're faced with another decision. Do we slow play or raise now and hope a hand like one pair calls? Because I doubt the 3 helped him, and if he did have 2 pair or a set, I'm sure he would have bet more for protection against any club. So I'm still thinking he just has 1 pair at best, and if that's the case, there's no way we can lose this hand. So we just smooth call, hoping for a red card, any red card, but the river is not red. It's a jack of spades pairing the board. So we no longer now have the nuts, technically. But like I said before, if he had potential for a boat on the turn, he'd bet more. So still 99% confident we have the winner. Action on the small blind, who reaches for chips and bets out $120, which is almost a pot-sized bet, but not a large bet for this game. So still not concerned. Got to get some value with our nut flush. Hopefully he has something to call with, like a king or maybe a jack. So we raise things up to $380. He tanks for a little bit, looks back at his cards, and says out loud that he believes us and mucks. But when he mucks, he raises his hands, his cards high enough, and the phone was able to capture 1 card. I didn't see it at the time, but one of his cards was the 10 of spades. I highly doubt he folded Jack 10, so probably just King 10 offsuit. So our read on the situation was correct on the turn, and we couldn't lose, but maybe we lost out on some value, not c-betting the flop. I don't know. Because every hand in poker can be played in so many different ways, which can have exponential amount of outcomes. If this happened or that happened, if this card falls or that card falls, the human nature factor as well. If I knew that player was on tilt for some reason, could have played it a little differently. Just so many factors, not even a computer can come up with the exact way to play any given hand. It's like, why do you think every year there's a different person winning the World Series of Poker? This game is just hard. But that's just the easiest way I can explain it. It's hard. But enough of that. Shortly after, we're in the hijack. It folds around to us, and we look down at King Jack offsuit. We raise things up 3x to $30. The cutoff, button, and small blind get out of the way, but the big blind puts in $20 more for a call. So we're heads up to a flop, and it comes ace king 6 with 2 diamonds. We hit middle pair, decent kicker, and the board should hit us majority of the time. So when the big blind checks inflow to us, we c-bet and throw out $30. He quickly makes the call. The turn is a 7 of diamonds, brings in the front door flush. We have the jack of diamonds, which is a good card to fall back on. He checks again for a second time, and in this spot, I don't see a reason to continue, not getting any better to fold, so we check back for pot control. I just hate to get check raised and blown off our equity, so off to a free river, and it's an offsuit 8 of hearts. Some straights now come in, and kind of just want to get to showdown at this point. He checks us again for a third time, and we snap check it back. We announce we have a king. He says, me too. And I'm thinking I have the second best king. Usually if a player says they have the same pair and had the best kicker, they just show it right away because they know they win, or at worst chop. So I show and he mucks. Maybe he had king 9, king 10. Too bad the board kind of slowed things down a little, but still a win. A win's a win. A few hands later, we're in the big blind. It folds to the button, who raises to $30. The small blind gets out of the way, action on us, and we improve a little, just a little this time, to king queen offsuit. We're in the passenger seat in this one because we just make the call and we are heads up to a flop, and we hit another pair, top pair, on a king 5-3 2 diamond board. We check and flow to the aggressor, and he right away checks back, so off to a turn, which comes the 9 of spades. Doesn't change much. I figure if he had a king, he'd bet the flop, so we take it upon ourselves to get value from whatever random hands he may have. So we throw out half pot, $30. And just like the flop action, he right away makes a decision, and that is to call. So off to a river now, and it's a brick, it's a 4 of hearts. All flush draws miss, but a few straights come in that are highly unlikely, 7-5 and 5 deuce. So we feel pretty confident we have the best hand. We bet again. This time it's for around pot size, and we throw out $110. This slows him down a little. He looks back at his cards, and this was the same player from the first hand that said he believed us and folded when we flopped the nut flush. He does decide to make the call, maybe just to see what we have, and our top pair is good. I understand it. Sometimes you just gotta pay for the information. but we take another pot down and we're 3 for 3 so far on the session. Let's keep it up. We're gonna go over this small hand real quick with pocket threes. We call a $40 early position to raise in the big blind. Go 3 ways to a flop. We miss, it's all small cards. The action checks around. The turn pairs the board, it's another 5. Just a range advantage for us in the blinds. We take it upon ourselves to lead for $50. Only the small blind makes the call. The river is paint, it's a queen of spades. We both check, and our small pair is good. It's a lot of hands like this, the one I just went over, that really build a stack throughout a session, even more sometimes than the all-in pots. Just wanted to share that real quick, that majority of poker hands are like that. Checks, maybe small bets, and winning with a small pair. But that's the most I get in that last hour span until this hand comes up, and we have an actual premium this time. We have pocket queens in the hijack. It folds around to us, and we raise things up to $30. The cutoff and button get out of the way. Onto the small blind, who puts in more than $30. He 3-bets to 120. The big blind gets out of the way, action back on us, and I look over at his stack, and he has around 14, maybe 1,500 total. So still enough to play behind. Not sure if we want to get it in, all in pre-flop for 150 big blinds. Cause if we raise, probably gonna have to make it 400 minimum. And if he jams, then what do we do? At best case scenario, we're flipping versus ace king. So in position, we just make the call and look to navigate a flop. And I was wrong, he had a $5 chip in there as well. He never took his small blind out, so it was a raise to $125. Not that it made much difference, but just want to be as accurate as I can. So with $260 in the middle, the flop comes 9-7-4 rainbow. Probably the safest board you can ask for. But if he does have aces or kings, then it's just the worst board because we might just have to double this guy up. But only time will tell. He's first to act, luckily, and he throws out a c-bet, 1 black chip for $100. I don't think there's much we can do besides call. Nothing else really makes too much sense. So we do, and onto a turn, which is another undercard. It's a 5 of hearts, bringing in the backdoor flush draw, but in a 3-bet pot, not too relevant. He slows down this time and checks on over to us, and I think we gotta deny equity from ace king. So we throw out a bet of $330. Action now on the small blind, who tanks for about 30 seconds, shuffles his chips, and then announces all in.
All in.
Can you count it?
Okay.
Count it, please.
May I have order number 2?
I just want an official count. What?
975 more.
I asked for a count right away because it's a tough spot. Like I said at the beginning, aces, kings are a possibility, and because of the board texture, it might have just screwed me. There's $1,700, $1,765 in the middle. I got to call off $975 more to win a pot over $2,700, getting almost 2-to-1. I'm not too sure. Let's just cut to the video to see what I was thinking in the moment.
Probably should have just gone in pre-flop. Might have been cooler to run out 2 boards. Yeah. That's up to you, I don't care. Once? Yeah, once. You show or no?
I don't really care running it once or twice. My opponent said 1 time, so only 1 card to come. I asked him if he had kings. He said no, so my guess is ace king. And here's the river.
Do you have kings? Oh, you're good.
Of course the ace comes. I immediately say you're good, but he flips and has pocket jacks. Wow, cooler of a board for both our hands. Could have gone either way, queens versus kings, aces versus queens, same thing on that type of a board. But lucky for us, we're on the right side of it. I'm sure you guys already know this, but for those of you who don't, the 5-10 game here at the Bellagio, there's a $7 time rake every 30 minutes. So every dealer change, they collect $7 from each player, or players can choose to do a $30 double board hold'em bomb pot. Some players can elect to participate or not if they want a bathroom break or just choose not to play the bomb pot. They just pay the $7 and the rest of the table plays the bomb pot for 30 each. We've already played a few so far, but didn't connect either time until this one. We do connect. We're in the cutoff and have King 10 offsuit. The top board comes 2 kings and the bottom is just jack high. It checks all the way around to us. Pretty straightforward. We have trip kings on one board and nothing, just a gutter on the other. So can't let people see cards for free or for cheap. So we bet out $140. The button thinks about it some, but has a lot of people left to act behind him. So he folds and everyone else pretty much snap folds. Nothing to brag about, I know, but we played 9 or 10 bomb pots and that was the only one we got involved in. So I had to share at least one. This hand though is a normal 5-10 hand. We're in the small blind. The under the gun folds. The under the gun 1 opens to $30. The next to act right after him, cold 3 bets to 120. It folds around to us and we look down at pocket kings, a real hand with already action in front of us, so let's go. Sadly, the big blind folds out of turn, which causes the under the gun opener to fold out of turn as well. And the dealer says to him it's not his turn because I still have cards. I'm like, I haven't done anything yet. I'm sure you guys have seen this many times when people fold out a turn and a player still has their cards and they're like, whoa, wait, like wait for me. You know they have a monster when they raise. So I don't really say much. I kind of just wait for the dealer to do their job when they realize I still have cards. Now I know it's just us in middle position who 3-bet. I look over at his stack and he has maybe $500 in it. I think no matter what we do, it's going in regardless. But I hate to jam and he folds something that he shouldn't, like a small pair. I don't know, the stack to pot ratio is weird. So we kind of just min click it to $210 and right away he jams. So all that analysis doesn't even matter anymore. I just wanted to be certain that the money was going in at some point. But it does go in, he jams. Of course we call and I ask him once or twice. He says 1 time. So 1 run out for blood. We flip and he has ace king. So we're in really good shape to win, about 70% chance. And here's a run out.
Nice hand.
And in the window, an ace appears. Ew, that kind of stung a little bit. We don't catch the case king to improve, and we double up our opponent. It can't all be sunshine and rainbows, can it? Good thing it was only for $500. Could have been worse. It could have been for $2,000 or $3,000. Always thinking positive, which is easier said than done sometimes in this game, but still up on the session, so we're good. Playing well and hitting, so let's brush that one off and move on to the next hand. The next one we're going to go over, we're on the button. The first 2 players to act both limp for $10. The hijack and the cutoff fold. We're next and look down at 5-3 of clubs. The players that limp had super wide ranges. The under the gun is the same player that we doubled up, ace king versus kings. So let's try and get some of that money back. We raise it up to 50. The blinds get out of the way and the initial limper reaches for chips, and get this, he looks at the under the gun 1 who had the $40 more to call already in hand. So by this information, the under the gun, knowing he was getting a good price, looks at his cards, then calls. And of course the under the gun 1 was already halfway in the pot with a call. But just something to keep in mind, the under the gun probably not very strong because, well, for 1, he limped, and 2, he might have mucked his cards if the under the gun 1 wasn't giving his action away that he was already calling. So anyways, onto a flop 3 ways, and it comes king 9-2, 2 clubs. Not bad, we have a flush draw, backdoor straight, and can represent good hands on a king high board. So when they both check and flow to us, sitting with 5 high, that's not gonna get the job done at showdown. So let's represent good hands, and wouldn't be mad to just take it down right here. We c-bet $60. The under the gun calls right away. The under the gun 1 folds, so 1 opponent down, 1 to go. Off to a turn, heads up, and it comes the ace of diamonds. A good card. I say a good card because it's a good card for our perceived range. If we're c-betting, taking a stab with ace X, then it's now beating whatever pair he may have. So when he checks to us for a second time, we got to keep betting because, like I said, 5 high isn't going to get the job done. So we throw out another bet, 140 this time. He doesn't take too long and lets it go. We had potential, even if he did happen to make the call, but taking it down with 5 high, Got some of our money back we lost from that bad beat, just a few hundred to go. A seat opens up to our left, and we were the main game, so a player comes on over from the must move. And Jesus, maybe that table was the main game because he had around 8K in his stack. We asked him what happened over there because remember, this game has a $2,500 max buy-in, so must have stacked a few opponents or just running like God. But safe to say, more money was coming to our table, so let's see if we can get some of it. We're back to premiums again with Ace King offsuit in the big blind. There's an open in the cutoff to $30 and a small blind call. We're next gonna 3-bet squeeze with the small blind's dead money out there and make it 110 to go. The cutoff makes a call right away, which is presumably a wide range, and the small blind gets out of the way. So we're heads up to a flop, and it's Ace Jack Jack, a board where we're gonna be either way ahead or way behind. So we check first to act, see what he wants to do. He only has around 600 in his stack, so playing super short for this game, action on him, and he snap checks it back. The turn is a queen of hearts, bringing the backdoor flush draw, and same as the flop, either going to be way ahead or way behind, but have to bet at some point, so we do this time and throw out one black chip. He takes a second to make his decision this time and throws in $100, so on to a river, and it's a total brick, it's a 3 of spades. A lot misses, so I don't think a bet here makes too much sense. Let's let him bet with all his garbage, because when he didn't raise on the turn, he probably doesn't have a jack, so I'm confident we have the best hand. If he wants to win, he has to bet, or he's gonna value own himself. So we check on over to him, and he actually snap checks it back. Bummer. He says he has 3 pair. I show and take it down. He had ace-3 offsuit, so we probably missed out on some value, a street of value at least, either on the flop or the river. I still think the best option was to check on over to him and let him bet a worst hand. Let me know how you guys would have played it. If someone says, bet all 3 streets, I'm yelling cap so hard. Be real, if you didn't know what he was holding, how would you have played it? Because let's be real, there was only 2 more aces left in the deck. If he didn't have one of them, a bluff was certainly coming on the river. He just happened to have one. Still, chips being pushed our way in a 3-bet pot. Good morning, everybody. It's past midnight, so technically the morning. A little backstory on this hand. Throughout the last hour or so, us and the guy to my right chopped a few times because everyone folded to us in the blinds. I always ask players if they chop because I always chop and move on to the next hand. So we chopped a few times already, I think almost back to back. So when it folded around to us again, we were like, all right, no more chopping. So we play this one out. He looks down at his cards and raises to $30. We look down at ours and actually have a decent hand in the blinds, ace-6 suited. I'm not too familiar with blind versus blind. Like I said, I normally chop, and most people do. 9 times out of 10, people just chop and move on. So I think a 3-bet is standard with a suited ace, but we just make the call in position. I don't think either option is wrong here, so off to a flop, heads up, blind versus blind, and it comes ace-8-5 rainbow. Not too bad of a board if you ask me, hitting top pair and backdoor straight and flush draws. He c-bets to $40, as I think he would do all the time with an ace-high board. I want to take control of this hand now. We have a good hand, but our kicker is a little sketch. Let's see where he's at with a raise. So we raise things up and make it $110 to go. He thinks briefly and makes a call, so a pot brewing. The turn comes, a 10 of hearts, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. Just not our flush draw. It doesn't help us with either of our backdoors. He checks and flow to us, and this is why we raise the flop. Gives us options on the turn, because now we are in the driver's seat. Not only in position, but now we have the betting lead. We're telling a story that we have something, so let's continue that story. And we don't have to make it too big to get through. If we do get raised, might have to evaluate. And if we get called, we're still in the driver's seat. So this bet is a little for value, but also naming our price if he does call. Because on the other hand, if we check and it comes a brick and he blasts river for pot or more like 2x pot, we're going to be in a world of hurt. So we throw out 2 black chips. He tanks for about 20 seconds and then makes the call. So not really knowing what we want to see on the river, a non-heart, a 6 would be nice, but it comes an offsuit queen, a queen of clubs. He checks to us and now we have a decision. We can go for thin value, or we can just check and take our ace to showdown. I'm torn because on one hand we have top pair, but on the other, I can't really think of many hands that we can get value from worse.
My kicker sucks, check.
You got me crushed.
He shows 3-4 of hearts. Woo! A turn raise would have been interesting for sure. And if he does raise the turn, bricks the river, he has to bet to win. So thinking with a turn raise and we call, the river bet would have been in the range of all of it. His remaining 1600. Ouch, we might have still been in the tank if it played out like that. Alright, almost an orbit later, we're in the under the gun and look down at pocket jacks. We raise things up a standard 3x. It folds to the button. Same player, ace king versus ace 3, where we missed out on some value. He's accumulated a few chips since then, so he has more than the $600 behind. He has around double that. He 3-bets to $100. The blinds get out of the way, action back on us, and we can go either way with 4-betting or flatting. Not really the easiest to play the jiggities, so we just flat this time, the $100. And we're heads up to a flop out of position, and it comes 7-5-2 rainbow. We check and flow to the 3-better, and he snap checks it right away. And with no c-bet, I put him on ace king or ace queen, because he would most definitely c-bet if he had an overpair. That's just what he would do if he had that or hit anything. So off to a turn, and it pairs the board. It's a 7 of clubs. This player didn't seem like the type to check back a second time, so we take a risk and check, hoping he bets. And as we hoped, he does bet and counts out $110. And here's where we have a decision to make. We can either raise now and most likely get him to fold ace king or ace queen, or we can smooth call knowing what he has and knowing if it's an undercard on the river, especially pairing the board again, he's betting the river 100% of the time. So we get greedy and just smooth call and immediately regretting our decision because the river comes, it's a big fat ace, the ace of spades. Wow, well, we did it to ourselves, I guess. We check to him, he bets some amount, doesn't matter, and we fold. And he does show ace king. Damn, even knowing what they have and knowing what they're gonna do if certain cards fall, kinda just need the dealer to do their job and cooperate to win the max. But instead, we lose and our chips get pushed in the opposite direction. Exactly 2 hands later, we're in the small blind. The under the gun, first to act, opens to $30. The hijack calls 30. The cutoff and button get out of the way. We're next and look down at queen jack of clubs. This hand does well multi-way, so we make the call for $25 more. And the big blind, getting a good price, calls as well. So we are 4 ways to a flop, and it comes ace 8-5 with 2 clubs. We have the second nut flush draw and backdoor straight draw, but we check and flow like normal. The big blind checks as well. The under the gun opener, pre-flop aggressor, facing 3 other opponents, checks, and the hijack checks as well. So action checks around, off to a free turn. And it comes an offsuit 3 at 3 of spades, a total blank. We're first to act, and it didn't seem like anyone was too interested in this pot, and doubt the turn improved my opponents, so we take a stab and lead for $40. The big blind has different plans and raises to $150. The under the gun folds, and hijack gets out of the way, action back on us, and we're most likely behind unless he happens to have a smaller flush draw, so needing to call $110 more for a pot that has 310 in it. Out of position, kind of a iffy spot, but this player does have the 8K stack that we talked about. So if we do catch and he ends up with some kind of straight or flush himself, we can win a massive one. So we make the call for $110 more. So off to a river, which comes the king of diamonds, no help to us. And sitting with queen high, we just wave the white flag and check, and he right away checks back.
I called you.
So what happened was I reached for my cards waiting for him to show since he was the last aggressor, and he said I had to show. I was confused at first because I was always told that the last aggressor shows first, but I guess here in Vegas you show in order based off position. And he talked to me after the hand. He was a local and figured I wasn't, and he wasn't trying to be a dick about it. That's just the rules here in Vegas. Where I'm from, New Mexico, it was always the last aggressor, the last person raising or betting had to show first. Like at showdown, someone bets and the other person calls, then the one who bet shows. But since there was no action on the river in this hand, it went check check. There was technically no last aggressor. Each street starts over. It's like having short-term memory, and what happened on the previous streets doesn't even matter if the river goes check check. I don't know, strange rule, but he was cool about it, like I said, and explained. But of course we lose, he has an ace, so the chip leader gets even richer. The last hand we're going to go over in this session, we have the Wolfgang hand, pocket sevens. We're in the under the gun. Well, technically, because the small blind bought the button. So in this situation, maybe the under the gun won, because we're second to act. How about early position? Let's just say that. The guy to our right folds, we're next to act and open to $30. It folds to the player who sucked out on us, ace king against our kings. He goes all in.
All in. 225.
What is it?
225 all in.
Twice if we run it?
We almost called the police.
I ask him if he wants to run it twice if I call, just for fun basically. He agrees, so I call, $225.
We doing twice?
Twice? Why not? My head now? I'm ahead, alright, hey. Give him another jack. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, that's crazy.
So classic flip for $450, and we just cannot beat this player in all-in situations today, even on 2 boards. The Wolfgang hand sucks. Again, we double this player up for a second time. He ends up losing all of it shortly after, not to us, but he does lose it. We play for another hour or so, win a few small pots, nothing crazy, and decide to call it a night, rack up our chips, head to the cage, and cash out.
Always wanted to do an outro out here, just never got the chance to on top of Bellagio's parking structure. I've seen many vlogs of players doing an outro out here, just never got the chance to. I don't know why, but probably not the best day either because there is a few people out here playing some music and it's a little windy, so I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Hopefully you guys can, but it's late. We're gonna get this outro in, so I don't care, but I'm gonna go over the numbers right away. 2-5 played for 5 minutes, won $18, and the 5-10 in for 25, out for 3,997, so almost 4K, so 1.5K plus on the day. So that was not bad. Played for 5 hours, I believe. So I'll take it. I mean, could have been more. We just could not beat that guy for some reason. I mean, even with the best hand, ace king versus kings. I mean, come on. And I'll give him that at the end. Sevens versus ace jack, Wolfgang's hand, but couldn't hold up even on 2 boards. Like, come on, not even a split, really. But it was all right. See, there's people around me, and I probably look kind of stupid just holding my phone, talking to myself, but I'm talking to you guys. Well, not right now, live, but you're gonna see this, so I am talking to you guys. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, we're doing a 10K challenge. That's just the number we decided. Midway through our week trip here in Vegas, day number 4, so really good day, but I think we're 4K up on the trip thus far, and here for 3 more days, and it's a lofty goal of hitting the 10K, but we're gonna try our best and bring you guys along for the ride. So that's awesome. I don't know where we're gonna play tomorrow. Gonna make some phone calls, maybe play somewhere different. If not, we're still gonna get some hours in, some hands for you guys, because like I said, kind of what sets me apart every session I play. I mean, I don't really care to film if I'm not, or I don't really care to play at poker rooms or casinos if I can't film. So I'm doing this for you guys. I mean, you guys see what I play, when I play it, so can't really hide, I guess. I mean, even if the session is boring as F, you guys are still seeing it. But yeah, it's super late. I mean, the city's still popping because there's a lot of people, but it is Saturday night. But it's almost 2 in the morning. So we're gonna head back to the room, get some sleep, and start fresh tomorrow. See, there's just people walking around and honking their horns. But that's it. Just good luck on the tables. Good luck on the felt. Good luck in life. Hope you guys have a good day, good night, whenever you're seeing this. And always remember, I'm Matty Ice. This is Gaines Poker. Peace out.